Good morning, everyone. This is Brad Matheny. Today is the 28th of February. It's Friday, end of the month. And boy, did we have a big breakdown yesterday. Now, I honestly did not expect this breakdown to continue much further. This 584 level, 585 level that we closed at on Friday is rather telling because if you remember, I drew this level and was calling for that 584 level for months, telling you, actually weeks, telling you that this was likely going to be, our critical level. But I'm going to tell you right now that this entire breakdown, in my opinion, was driven by Bitcoin. Okay. Bitcoin has just collapsed. And there is something you all need to be aware of is that we move into a sell everything mode sometimes in the markets. And you can watch. In fact, I've got a thing called the crash index, which is sitting back over here, up here near this top. This is my crash index. I've shared it with you guys before. It's actually right here. And this is the symbol for the crash index right here. And I want you to be aware that when you look at this on a daily basis, you can see that the crash index has just collapsed downward on a daily basis. We've had very strong downward selling. And when we get into that very strong, that's the reason I created this index, is that when we get into this very strong downward selling, like you're seeing here, um, pretty much everything sells off. Okay. Including gold, including in some cases, more tangible assets, like materials and commodities. So be aware that, you can use this crash index. There's the symbol, copy it and paste it right here for you. But you can use this symbol all you like to try to, kind of study the markets like I do. And I like to use this on, an intraday basis because I can come in here to a 10-minute basis and, there's the data's back out here somewhere, way back here probably. There it is. And you can see here on an intraday basis, it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear that we've been in a downtrend and rolling downward. And particularly, look at how this breakdown occurred yesterday in the markets. Spread this out a little for you. Spread this out. You can see here that the crash index at the beginning of the day kind of mirrored the SPY, even rolling through this uptrend here until we broke down into the end of the day. And you can see this breakdown right here. And that's what I'm kind of looking for. I'm using it as a process. So, very simply, you can mirror these lows across this channel as it sets up. Again, trying to mirror off of these lows. And once we get that breakdown or breakout, you can see we had the same type of a scenario here coming across these levels. Little bit of a breakout right here. And then failure breaking down right here. So you can see we're moving into fairly clean trending. And you can see here a little bit of a breakout, bigger breakdown right here. So this gives us our idea of a larger breakdown to the downside. So again, you've got to pay attention to what the markets are giving you and where we're at with this. Okay, so come back over here, get you back into, you can see the crash index data, and there you go. That's the crash index. Type it in. It's really There you go. That's the symbol in its unextended format. Okay. And the crash index, like I said, when you come back over here and you take a look at it, it tends to mirror market data. So you see the SPY starts to rally here daily wise. We're holding up and we're getting upward trending, upward trending. It moves into a very solid organic rally right back over here. So you need to play this with some more, indicators and such, but particularly when it's breaking down, you need to be very cautious. When it's moving into a downtrend here, you start to look for highs. So see here, we're moving into this downtrend. We just mimic this high, and as soon as we get above it, we're in an uptrend. So pretty simple mechanism. Applying Fibonacci price theory to this crash index and how it relates to price is pretty simple. Just tracking highs and lows. Now, let's just start off with Bitcoin here to make it easy. So Bitcoin has come down to my 79 220 level. And remember, I talked here about the 76 300 to 76 500 level. We haven't hit that level yet. Could we? Yes. We're getting these lower wicks. So now when we start to get these lower wicks on price bars, this indicates that we're moving into potentially weakening trending. You see, as we start to get these wicks, let me close this out. See, as we start to get these wicks up here, this to me is a weakening trend. Okay, more wicks means the weakening trend. More wicks, like right over here, we get weakening trend. And as I'm starting to see these wicks here, I have a feeling that we're going to be moving into sideways consolidation between this, call it 80,000 and 86,000, 87,000. We're going to kind of be moving into this kind of a sideways trend before breaking down eventually, possibly into the 72, maybe even the 68,000 area. So we've hit these targets. We're moving into consolidation. This is going to give a pause in the markets, which is going to translate to the SPY moving likely into some sort of a pausing, consolidating mode up into this high, rolling potentially back down into this low over here. Remember, I have a upward target in the 602 to 604 area for the SPY. So if we are pausing out of this weakening trend because Bitcoin has slowed down the selling process, and if we don't get any big breakdown and move into consolidation, you're likely going to see this move, this big breakout or breakdown move in the in this channel here, moving into some sort of an excess phase peak pattern moving higher. So we are likely going to move into some moderate recovery mode back up here into this 600, 602 area, which could be very powerful in an uptrend. Remember, we're down here at 585. So you now have the potential of a move up of about 18, about 3.25%, maybe by around the 11th, 12th, 13th of March, likely then rolling downward. So be aware that, what I was expecting as this being the excess phase peak pattern is really looks like it's going to be happening more around this area. Oops. So we are essentially in a bearish phase for intermediate and short term. We're still in a bullish phase here because we haven't taken out this low back over here. We're looking right now as a pausing pullback into this excess phase peak flagging formation, reaching around 600, 602, 603, maybe a little higher, and then rolling downward into this March 21st low. Same thing is going to happen over here in a QQQ, in my opinion. Deep low coming right down here to this extended deep low bottom sets up a beautiful excess phase peak pattern coming down into this area potentially. And you can see this was drawn thinking that we had already reached the bottom. So this is now negated. And so we have this potential here to move into this rally up into around March 12th, which is pretty much right in that area. There's our topping pattern. And then we'll likely roll down even further into a breakdown mode. Okay. Now you can see we're already at the 5 pre-market 540. So we're trying to hold near this support, which is what I would expect. And again, if we do move into the consolidation phase off of this blue pattern, that consolidation phase is going to be, I mean, it has to stay potentially in this range or down here. So in theory, folks, this blue has already gotten below the support level. Okay. We move into consolidation potentially in this area before breaking down as a blue level, or we move into consolidation down in this level before breaking downward. So you can see we have a very narrow range here. We either find consolidation in this area, which could again move all the way back up to here before breaking down, which I think is legitimate, or we continue to break down further, and that would mean that we would have a high price up here in a 5.7 area or 507 area before coming down. So we need to watch what holds for support. Right now, the 550 area is very critical. Otherwise, we could come down to this 477 level and try to find support down in this area. I think we hold right here. We'll see. We'll see how the market does. 499, 500 could be a really critical day, particularly if Bitcoin continues to collapse. So, right now, if we can get a good solid little pullback, which we're getting a little base here, we'll see how it plays out. Now, the pattern for today is a gap up lower pattern. That means that we're likely going to see some downward trending today after a morning gap to the upside. So again, taking a look at the SPY, we're a little bit higher this morning. We're probably going to try to open kind of in this 589, 590 area and maybe weaken throughout the day, maybe getting down into 583, 582. I don't expect a whole lot. And that's a 1 hour chart. I kind of drew it a little too, a little too wide. Let me come over here and drag this. And, so really maybe opening up in this 588 area and then moving down into this 584, 583 area. That would be a legitimate reconfirming of this low. Moving then into what I would think would be a fairly aggressive recovery phase into early next week. So we could be seeing some pressure here. Again, the SPY cycle pattern does not really indicate any base bottom. We do move into a top resistance, a flat down, and then a rally on the 7th. So I think we could be looking at a breakaway upward trending starting on the 4th, 5th, 6th of next week, moving into this rally phase around the 12th. This is carryover rally. Then we get a carryover and counter trend, and then we get a temporary bottom, a top, gap reversal, gap potential, gap reversal, top. I think this is where we move back into that breakdown pattern. Okay, so lastly, we're gonna go to gold and silver. Now, gold and silver have been under a lot of pressure, and that's because of this big breakdown. So remember, we started breaking down, really back right over here 3, 4 days ago. It's the 28th. This is the 21st or so. And we were looking pretty good until Bitcoin broke down considerably. This is a 2-hour chart. This is a 2-hour chart. Same thing over here with gold. Now, I've been telling you that I think gold is really going to make a big rally. Well, okay. Yeah, I still believe that gold is going to make a huge rally. When someone asks me what's going on, I have only one answer for you is that, yes, I had been predicting Bitcoin was going to make some sort of a breakdown move. You guys remember, I've been talking about that for months. Did I expect the breakdown move to be this aggressive? No, I didn't expect it to be this aggressive. Collapsing, Bitcoin collapsing, literally, this is, look at this, guys. This is a big move. Oops. So when you get to the point where we were looking at beginning of February, end of January, being up here in this 106, 104, 105 area, and considering where we're at right now, let's just pick an area around 105. Considering where we're at, you've seen a 24% decline in the markets. Meanwhile, gold and silver have moved down roughly from the same time frame, about 3% for gold and probably about 5%, yeah, 5% for silver. Still, it hurts to look at gold and silver down here around 2,800 and 31, almost 32 bucks, 31.75. But a 3 to 5% decline in metals compared to a 25% collapse in Bitcoin. And again, you come over here and you take a look at the SPY. I think I can do it here. Just get rid of these bottom, and what are we looking at here with the SPY? A 4.5, 5%. So it's not the end of the world. It's a pullback. It looks bad, and yeah, we caught some down in the downtrend. Remember, I called for this move right around the 21st to the 24th, right through this mode, and it just destroyed Bitcoin. That's what's happening here. It's just destroying Bitcoin and cryptos, and again, I think we're near a bottom here. I think this is a sufficient breakdown into consolidation that we could literally start to move up into kind of a sideways channel here that could play out very cleanly for us and for the markets over the next couple of weeks. My next top is really setting up right over here around the 10th, 11th, 12th. Okay. I think that's going to be our cycle high. And then we're going to roll down into a, try to get rid of these. Sorry, guys. Oh my gosh. Roll down into a fairly strong breakdown into the middle of March. Okay. So the gold cycle patterns for today are back over here, a flat down day. I think we're going to be building a base. And what that means over here for gold and silver is that we are going to be likely building a nice solid base here for another rally. And as I mentioned to you, once this selling pressure is over, what typically happens after these kind of broad sell offs in metals, and I'll try to draw it for you. What typically happens in these kinds of sell offs is we take 2 or 3 days to base, and then we start to move up about 2/3 up, pause, and then we rally up to new highs. So the reality here is we will take a couple of days over here to base in silver, maybe a little longer, and then we will rally up about 2/3, pause, and then rally up to new highs. So I'm looking at, that again, that 11th, 12th, 13th. to be back up here near new highs. We could be very aggressive around these highs. Same thing here, 11th, 12th, 13th being potentially up near new highs, maybe even substantially higher than where I'm predicting. We normally get a very strong recovery once the selling abates because traders realize that metals are the efficient global hedge. So this sell everything phase is about over. And then people come into the picture and start looking and saying, well, gold is a deal at 2880. And considering it's going to probably run to 4,300, 4,500 or higher, and it is a hedge against global meltdown. So we'll see how things play out over the next couple of days. Remember, we're getting fairly flat data right now. You know, pre-market, the SPY is uh, up just a little bit, 88.88. The NASDAQ is, oh, this is open. So come over here. QQQ is down 0.09. You know, we're pretty flat today. And as long as Bitcoin stays somewhat trapped around this 80,000 area, you know, call it 7920 to 81, 82,000, kind of this area here. As long as Bitcoin stays kind of trapped in that area, we're going to be looking like a fairly mellow open. Okay, guys, it's Friday. Go get some. Today might be fairly flat compared to yesterday, so stay safe. Okay, guys, happy Friday.